Hey, what's up everybody? How's it going? My name is Rohan Sharma and I represent the 6th, Toronto, Canada. I work as a project manager in my daily Monday to Friday 9 to 5 corporate job, and other than that, I am a professional host. I go by the name of MC Rohan, and as you all may know, I'm a huge advocate of promoting Bhangra as well.
ਕਦੇ ਸ਼ਹਿਰ ਪਟਿਆਲੇ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਰੇਂਜ ਚ ਕਮਾਉਂ ਬੱਲੀਏ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਉੱਤੇ ਤੇਰੀ ਅੱਖ ਖੜ ਗਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਉਹ ਦਵਾਉਂ ਬੱਲੀਏ ਓਏ ਆਖਦੀ ਨਾ ਮੁੰਡਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਉਹ ਮਿਹਨਤੀ ਉਹ ਰਾਤਾਂ ਵਾਲੇ ਤਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛੀ ਉਹ ਗੱਭਰੂ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਬੋਲੇ ਚੰਗਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਮਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛੀ ਗੱਭਰੂ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਬੋਲੇ ਚੰਗਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਮਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛੀ ਉਹ ਖਿੱਚ ਕੇ ਰੱਖ ਸੈਨ ਵੀ ਬੋਲੇ ਚੰਗਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਮਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛੀ ਗੱਭਰੂ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਬੋਲੇ ਚੰਗਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਮਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛੀ
For me, the definition of Bhangra has changed over the course of the years that I've been doing it. When I was 8, when I was 10, for me Bhangra was a way to just make new friends, to go out and meet different people, go to an academy, learn from a teacher. And I had so many different teachers when I was the age of 8. I can't even remember any of their names. But as I mentioned, the definition of Bhangra has changed over the course of the years. Now what Bhangra means to me is it's not just a dance form. For me, it's meditation. For me, it's a workout. And most importantly, it's the best way for me to express. Sometimes words don't do justice to what we're trying to say, and that's where dance for me comes in. And Bhangra for me is just like falling in love, and there's no way I can explain the feeling that I get, or the feeling that anybody would be able to get. A lot of people say Bhangra, Punjabi ji kehndे ji Bhangra रूह दी खुराक हुंदी है, right? And it's food for soul, right? So there's nothing else. I think if I had to explain it in the smallest way possible, it's food for my soul. So that's what it means for me. Just like I balance all the other things in my life, working as a project manager has improved and enhanced a lot of my skills to be able to do time management and to be able to prioritize things. And I've never really had an issue being able to give my time to my non-Bhangra friends and my Bhangra friends, because eventually your Bhangra friends do become your outside Bhangra friends as well. There's a saying that says, practice until you get it right. I don't believe in that. I think it should be practice until you can't get it wrong. So if I'm making a routine, if I'm making a piece, if I'm making choreography, the number one thing for me is it has to feel natural, it has to flow. And on top of that, I know I'm satisfied when I can keep repeating it, I can keep nailing it without making a mistake. My input for the Bhangra community is to focus on Bhangra first. 100%. There's so many things that everybody can have opinions for, okay? And this is just my opinion. ਜਦੋਂ ਤੱਕ ਅਸੀਂ ਭੰਗੜੇ ਨੂੰ number 1 ਤੇ ਰੱਖਾਂਗੇ ਨਾ, Bhangra community is going to be fine. The moment we start putting Bhangra second is when I don't know what to do or what to say to the Bhangra community. So for me, if I was to send a message to the Bhangra community, I would say keep your focus on the art, learn everything you can from the roots to where it is now, and focus on Bhangra, focus on improving your Bhangra, and let your Bhangra speak. When we talk about my Bhangra idol, right now, I do want to say there are a lot of great dancers. I've been watching Bhangra again, I mentioned, I think since I was 14 or 15. I started learning at the age of 8, but I started watching a lot of YouTube videos and a lot of performances around the age of 14, 15, and now I'm 28, 29. For me, in the last 14, 15 years, I have seen a lot of dancers, and I've maybe picked up on some nakra from some dancer, some athletic ability from some dancer, and I've been able to take I've been able to idolize a lot of the dancers that I've been around and been exposed to, whether it be through YouTube videos, whether it be through collaborations, whether it through be projects that we run from from one end of the world to the other. So I don't have a specific Bhangra idol, but this is where I'm going to refer to my man Snoop Dogg. I am my idol. I want to thank myself because everything that I've done, if I wasn't really interested in it, and if I didn't really take the if I didn't take the initiative to learn everything myself, I wouldn't be able to do Bhangra, and I wouldn't be able to be sitting here speaking to you guys. In the near future, when it comes to Bhangra, I am going to try to not only push my own limits when it comes to being athletic and when it comes to being able to perform every single move with great execution, but I do want to try to fuse some things. So if I'm going to be fusing a little bit of hip hop into Bhangra, I want to make sure I don't lose the essence of Bhangra. My problem is a lot of the videos that I see, not a lot, okay, I shouldn't say a lot. Some of the videos that I see that have tried to do this before, they're either great at hip hop or they're great at Bhangra. When you're great at hip hop and not so good at Bhangra, what happens is you end up taking the essence of Bhangra out of the video. So some of my future projects, which you guys will obviously be following and keeping up with, is going to be some sort of a fusion between hip hop and Bhangra, and maybe who knows from then, and we can kind of continue to go on. Remember, when I say there's going to be a fusion, it's still going to be 80% Bhangra, maybe a little bit of touch of hip hop, and again, this is for entertainment purposes, and all of that without losing the form and the technique and the roots of Bhangra, and I'm going to make sure that happens. All right, so my thoughts on this question. First of all, I don't think that the Indian Bhangra community gets less attention than let's say the rest of the world, or Canada, USA, UK, Australia, Hong Kong, whichever place, right? I do not think that there is not enough exposure given to Indian Bhangra dancers. I actually think that a lot of the dancers that I know, right, or a lot of the teams that I know, actually refer back to Indian Bhangra teams, to understand, where things are headed, right? Now, that could just be my opinion. I mean, that actually is my opinion, and I think it's a strong opinion because I personally look up to a lot of teams in India and a lot of dancers in India. And just because, when it comes to Nakra, when it comes to understanding the roots and understanding even Punjabi songs, I know a lot of people that do Bhangra here in the Western world don't even understand lyrics. So if anybody is trying to learn Bhangra and perfect their art of Bhangra, there's no way they wouldn't turn to India. So I don't think there's a discrepancy between the exposure that Indian Bhangra dancers get compared to let's say non-India residing Bhangra dancers. I just think it just comes down to which person and how much effort are you really putting into getting yourself out there. And I know, so yeah, I don't think I don't agree with that. It could also be because of the fact that maybe when you're out of India, maybe there's less, maybe you have more time on your hands, and maybe you have more means available to record stuff or to be part of teams, and maybe I don't know, that could be the only thing. I could be completely wrong, and but me personally, I don't think there's a discrepancy. I think Indian Bhangra dancers get the same amount of attention because again, they're doing the art itself. It's not Indian or Canadian or American or Englandy. No, it's Bhangra. So if you're performing Bhangra, we all have the same platform. This happens only, and it's so much easier to say. There's a lot of factors that go into politics, right? There could be many things that you and we won't even know. We can't even come up with situations or circumstances that would explain why some teams have politics, right? Some teams have politics with each other, and then sometimes there's politics within a team, right? So there's so many different things. We'd have to do a whole different episode. But if I was to sum it up to maybe a couple of things, I would say there is politics in Bhangra teams or within Bhangra teams because of these reasons. One, putting Bhangra second. When you forget why you started doing or why you started a team or why you started dancing in the first place, and you forget that, then your brain starts to get involved with all these extra shenanigan nonsense that you don't need to be a part of. Second, personal egos, right? A lot of people just have some sort of that inner competitive nature where there's like, I need to be better than that team. And that competitive nature is necessary. It needs to be there, but not to a point where it's now having a negative impact on not only the teams around you, but the dancers around you as well. So I think a lot of times people let their personal things get in the way of the actual dance, which is Bhangra. And the last thing that I would like to mention is if there are politics between teams and within teams, or if there's issues that you're noticing, I would want to point to the leadership. I would want to take a look at who is the mentor, who's the coach, because a lot of it is kind of trickled down from up above, right? So if dancers are noticing that their coach or their mentor or somebody that they look up to is being a certain way or thinks a certain way, that mindset and those concepts kind of trickle down to the rest of your team. So if politics is a concern, I would start with the revamp and maybe do some elections to have a better coach or a mentor, because I do think that a coach and a mentor play such an important role in the chemistry that a team has. And there are a lot of great coaches and great mentors out there who take lead on amazing teams that have no politics and no drama. So, and if you want to find out more about it, send me a message and we can have an in-depth discussion about this. Different Bhangra styles and the way different things are coming out, I love it. We welcome it, right? Because everybody has freedom of speech. You can, take out a camera and start recording whatever it is that you're doing, and you can start sharing it on the platform. It's an amazing platform, the internet, which everyone has access to. Now, me personally, I love promoting and supporting anybody that's doing anything to do with Bhangra, because they could have been they can possibly be reaching out to the ends of the world where maybe I wouldn't have been able to, right? Because maybe what I'm doing doesn't appeal to them. But if somebody else takes Bhangra and puts a little twist to it, and that gets to another end of the world, that's great, because what's that really doing? It's taking Bhangra and it's taking it even more broader than it already is, right? Now, certain dance styles, as I mentioned, as long as you're not butchering the Bhangra form and Bhangra technique, and we're not like, cutting off moves and we're just not completing moves, that's where I would draw the line. So there's no problem with introducing different styles into Bhangra, as long as when you start doing Bhangra or when you're doing a Bhangra move, it needs to be impeccable. It needs to be, man, ये बंदा Bhangra कर रहा है, hip hop कर रहा है, नाले Bollywood कर रहा है, but when he gets into his Bhangra, क्या Bhangra पांदा है, right? That Bhangra needs to be on point, and then as long as you're doing that, you're getting the right image of Bhangra out there. What happens is when people start mixing and matching, because they're trying to make moves work, they end up compromising on some of the Bhangra stuff, right? So my thing would be, it's great that there's a lot of different styles that are coming up, and my thought on that would be that that's great, but let's not lose the essence of Bhangra and the actual form and technique that we've learned all these years. So coming back to the same question that I answered before, I do not think that the essence of Bhangra is fading away. If anything, I think there's more and more awareness every day that people kind of realize about Bhangra, and the more the collaborations, the more the Bhangra becomes even more popular. So no, I don't think that the essence of Bhangra is going away, as long as you keep in mind the form, the technique, and the basics of Bhangra, and you don't compromise that, as long as you're within the collaborations. Collaborations are great because it allows artists to grow with each other, as long as you're not butchering the art itself, because then you defeat the purpose. I have discussed this with a couple of my friends, and we feel that it's different from person to person, right? So if you're a person, let's say, I don't even know, let's just say location A, which has a lot of Bhangra dancers, a lot of established teams, and a lot of exposure to Bhangra, and there's a Bhangra community there. There's going to be a lot of experienced teachers and coaches there. But if you take location B, where there is nobody talks about Bhangra, but there's one person who's like, man, I want to put together a team. Now that person may not have all the experience in the world, but they have the passion, they have the ability to put things together. Now in that case, that's completely fine. We want that, right? We would promote, okay buddy, listen, you don't have anybody there, why don't you lead it? It may not be perfect, but it's better than nothing, right? So if we go with that mindset, I'm going to give the benefit of doubt to the coaches and the mentors of teams within a Bhangra community to pick the right leaders to teach our youth. But if we're in a place where you are the first and you are starting things up, it's completely fine for you to become that teacher or become that coach. But remember, while you're doing that, do not also forget that you have to teach yourself as well. You have to always continue learning. Only then you'd be a great leader. If you think that you've learned everything and you know everything about Bhangra, that's where your growth stops. Me till date, I'm still learning new things, and as I meet all the new people in the world, I'm always telling them that, hey, I've learned this from you. And I'm so glad to be around you. I'm honored to be in your presence because of the fact that as I mentioned, I wouldn't be anything if I had not learned from all the different people that have come into my life. So if you are an upcoming Bhangra artist, first of all, thank you, love you, bless you for taking the art of Bhangra and making it your own and promoting it at a platform and inspiring everybody around you. So thank you for joining us. And if there was one thing that you would hear from me, or something that I wish I told myself when I was getting into Bhangra, it would be practice, practice, practice. And there's nothing you can do to replace great practice. And you do have to not only practice, you have to do efficient practice, right? So don't be practicing the wrong thing over and over again. So make sure you're practicing, but with that, take the time out to understand form, to understand technique, to understand roots. And if you keep your focus on those two things, you're well on your way to accomplishing your dreams, to making dance your passion, to be able to express in ways that a lot of people can only imagine. So as I mentioned, focus on your form and focus on understanding where Bhangra came from and understanding folk Bhangra as well. And then the sky's the limit.